Okay. Ready? Okay. Now, you want to start, sir?
Hari Om, sir. Yes.
Hari Om.
Prayer. We don't see the prayer.
Prayer.
You don't see it?
No.
Interesting.
No, we are seeing it. We are seeing
Yeah,
it.
I could see it,
Yeah, we
Raghuji.
could see also.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Okay, now it's coming up.
Okay, good.
Yeah, now we got it. Om. Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niradam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Visparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Gunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावहीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैकोपसमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञानात् ज्ञानं तदाज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतुक्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति शिखारा यस्मात् नन्दस्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। दिवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिर्भ्रान्ताच्च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः। हरि ओम।
Okay, I thought I'll say a few words before Nag summarizes. Can say Yoga Vashishta is a wonderful, elaborate book with about 26,000 verses. It is divided into 6 sections: Vairagya Prakarana, Mumuksha Prakarana, Utpatti Prakarana, Sthiti Prakarana, Upashamana Prakarana, and Nirvana Prakarana. So, but any teaching, there should be a reason for teaching and a student who is interested in that teaching. That is Lord Rama, and he had to have that Viveka and Vairagya for this knowledge. And so this Vairagya Prakarana is where Lord Rama explains why he is not interested in this life, why he is not enjoying the worldly life. And just the Vairagya is not enough. One has to have a real interest in knowing the ultimate truth. And so then, starting from Vairagya, it goes on in Mumukshu Prakarana, his desire for that knowledge is beautifully given, and that teaching by the Guru starts. And then Utpatti Prakarana talks about this Utpatti of this universe, of this world. It is nothing but a projection of our mind. And as the teaching continues, where this whole illusory world of Maya is overcome by intuitive vision. Then what happens? This aspirant ceases to attribute reality to all these experiences of the mind. So that is not enough, but that kind of knowledge has to become an abiding knowledge. So we are in the Sthiti Prakarana where the Guru, Vashishta Rishi, is teaching the Rama about how the mumukshutvam that has developed, how this knowledge that is given by the Guru, how one has to constantly abide in that knowledge and make it firm of his own experience. And once he does that, in Upashamana Prakarana, all these worldly experiences are negated, and then one experiences the ultimate knowledge, Nirvana Prakarana. So we are in this Sthiti Prakarana right now, since the Nirvana Prakarana is actually the half of the book, though we are already covered 1, 2, 3, we are in the fourth Prakarana, we are still in only half of the first volume, okay, because Nirvana Prakarana is the biggest. So we will continue, and Nag is going to summarize from section 20 to 22.
Hari Om Sir.
Hari Om.
Section 20. The world process as a projection of the chitta. When an iron ball is placed constantly in fire, it becomes red hot. In the same way, whatever the chitta of man constantly think of, that it becomes. All the perceptions of the world are imagined in consciousness. They are neither real nor unreal. The mind has two aspects. The cosmic mind projects the world, and the individual mind weaves the web of illusion projected by it. Body and mind are interdependent, but the physical body, which is a lesser plane of reality, is merely a tool for the mind. Without the function of mind, all bodily actions are meaningless. Control the mind and senses and direct your mind towards that reality behind the illusory world. Section 21. An impure mind sustains conflicting views. Brahman is beyond time, space, and causation. He is eternal, infinite, and immutable. One may question how ignorance could give rise to the mental process when Brahman alone is the reality. The answer is the existence of impurity that gives rise to the mental process is seen by the ignorant only. Qualified by the mental process, it is the self that sees through the eyes, thinks through the mind, and performs action through the organs of action. Mind gives rise to karmas and embodiments. Led by the conviction of the mind, one endeavors to acquire dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. It is the impure mind that gives rise to different views about the world. When the mind is pure, it reveals the one truth that Brahman alone exists. Objects are deprived of the qualities that are seen through the instrumentality of human senses. Sugarcane is sweet and chili is hot only from the point of view of human race. The impure mind abounds with the desires and longings based upon ignorance about the true value of objects. Just as the world process is intensified by the repeated thoughts of objects, one must take recourse to the repeated thoughts of Brahman. There is not any object that does not become real for an unilluminated mind. Same way, there is not any object that does not become unreal for an illuminated mind. The mind can imagine anything. Let your mind be like a crystal that reflects the moods and objects of the world, but remain detached from these reflections. While performing the daily duties as determined by prarabdha, maintain the vision of negating the world process. Section 22. the qualities that characterize self realization. To truly experience increasing joy, one should endow with viveka. His chitta must be illumined by knowledge, and he should renounce vrittis, thought waves, pertaining to the object of the world, and should rise above internal and external differentiation of consciousness by the intense practice of samadhi. One who abandons the ignorance and gains the knowledge that that all this is Brahman is truly awake. His mind becomes calm like an ocean without waves. His spirit becomes free from all vasanas. An illumined one sees the self as the only reality behind all illusory names and forms. Knower of the self becomes like a vast sky shining with freedom and joy. Just as one who knows the illusoriness of the mirage is not tempted by it, in the same way, though working through the mind, a sage is never deluded by it. Body is subject to birth and death, but the self on which the body and the world are superimposed is ever free. As long as the inquiry of who am I is pursued, the illusory vasanas are dissolved. A seeker on the path must assert that the miseries caused by the body, by external object, or by uncontrolled agencies do not belong to him. To attain self realization, certain affirmations must be practiced, such as I am in the sky, in the direction, and in the flow of time. I am the reality behind all names and forms. I am both the subtlest essence and the all pervading reality. I am not this body. All objects in the world are threaded by me, the self. There is neither I nor others, but the self alone exists. The world process is assigned by me only. The moment I withdraw my support, this world process ceases. When the vision is freed of the illusions of the I-ness and minus, a sage beholds the absolute, non dual, and eternal reality. For a seeker, there is nothing to be accepted or rejected. The one who realizes the world is nothing but Brahman is Lord Shiva himself. Ayo.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. So you can say how Vashishta Rishi is teaching on the shoulder of Lord Rama, all of us, about how to negate this world. But use this mind for negating the world. And by doing that, what happens? Your mind becomes completely quiet and abides in that wonderful self, which is the all-pervading self. So I like that example of the pot and the sky in the pot. The Atman is there in our body, just like the sky is in the pot. But is the sky affected in any way? No. The sky is inside and outside both. Same way, the Atman is all pervading, inside and out. So, if you clearly understand what is dharma, artha, kama, moksha in this world and use them properly for living in this world and not attached to the world, that one gradually attains the self-realization. So I like that sentence. When the mind of an individual is led through the path of blessedness, it develops both the ability of acquiring the powers of the cosmic mind and the ability of attaining the supreme realization. So you might get the powers of the cosmic mind in the form of various siddhis, but you might not be realized. And so it's very, very important that our goal is self-realization, not the various siddhis of the cosmic mind. So, and I really like that various affirmations that were given in that latter half of the section 22. I think it's just like reminds me of the Nirvana Shatakam. So, anybody want to add or comment? So, Nag, you want to continue, sir? Section 23.
Section 23. The sovereignty of a sage. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, when a potter has finished revolving his wheel, it continues to revolve because it still has momentum to exhaust. In the same way, when all the karmas of a sage have been destroyed by spiritual realization, led by the fructifying karmas of the past, prarabdha, it continues to exist in the body until that karma is exhausted. Yet, while doing so, he is always aware of the intrinsic freedom. He is like an emperor of emperors, free of all forms of bondage created by karmas. The very same body that is a prison house for the ignorant becomes a royal city for a sage. The eyes are as the windows, and the senses are the lamps illumine the city. The arms are like royal roads, the hairs its gardens, and the legs and eyes like pillars of this city. The pranas are the citizens that continue to move in and out of this nine-gated city of the body.
Go ahead and read the next one too.
Or the senses are like monkeys tied by the rope of intellect. Smiles are the blossoms that adorn the gardens of the face. The body of a sage is the very abode of all that is auspicious and festive. It is meant for promoting happiness and harmony in all. So while the bodies of the ignorant are as cave of misery, the bodies of illumined sages are boundless treasures of bliss.
Yeah. Want to comment?
The only quick comment is that kind of explains why even the realized persons still exist among us, because they just have some residue, like this says. Even though they are realized, they still have some residual vasanas to exhaust.
Yeah. So your point is right. That's the only reason that we know there is a state called a Jivan Mukta stage. If you do not have people like that living in this world, then how do we know that, hey, that there is a liberation? So I can say, oh, you will get liberated after this death. How do I know I got liberated? That I am not going to be reborn again. Okay. Only when we see this kind of people, then we know there is realization, and then that's the only way that the teaching comes from a realized person. So only a PhD can teach a PhD students, not like a high school teacher. So like that, realized masters that can guide the student. So in Kathopanishad, all that you have that example of the chariot. Chariot is the body, and the jiva is the one in the chariot, and the intellect is the charioteer, and the what do you call, the ropes holding the horses are the mind, and the horses are the senses, and things like that. Here in these two paragraphs, the similar kind of more elaborate simile is given. But at the end, he says, while the bodies of the ignorant person are caves of misery, the bodies of illumined sages are boundless treasures of bliss. So he is enjoying that bliss 24/7, not like here and there little worldly pleasures that we get uh, being ignorant of our real self. So, anybody want to add? Okay. Is Padmaja here? No. And Raja Reddy Garu, no. Rakesh Kumar, you want to continue, sir? Next three
Yes, sir.
paragraphs.
Yes, Hari Om. O Rama, it is insignificant to a sage whether his body is destroyed or not. But as long as the body exists, the sage continues to abide in it like an emperor of emperors. It is like a chariot that provides him with bhoga, joyous experience of the life, and moksha, infinite bliss of liberation. Abiding the city of the body, a sage is well established in the self. He is no longer subject to the birth or death, and he is no longer driven by desires and tortured by grief. The horse of his mind no longer moves along the roads and lead to hell, the roads of passion, greed, or anger. He no longer allows his daughter or intuitive intellect to be sold to the family of delusion, infatuation, or ignorance.
Yeah. Want to comment?
You continue the same thing. He's talking about the realized person, like how he lives, but he's living because he's not involved. He's just there. He's Sakshi because he's not worrying about what's happening, what's today, like a not even happy, not even sad. The things come. He just Sakshi is just watching it and he's trying to pass the time because he is trying to these prarabdha karmas and he's even the bad thing happens to him, good thing happens to him, he's sane. There's no change in him. He's
Yeah.
like a sthit pragya. He just look like a there with no feeling about it, and nothing bothers him. The good thing happens, bad thing happens. So like a passion, greed, anger is beyond him. So he's just realized.
Yeah. So it's just like when somebody else is suffering, I am not affected. The same way, for the realized man, he knows that he is not the body. So what happen to the body, let it happen to the body. Let the body is going to die, let it die. Okay. Or the body is suffering, I am not suffering. Okay. So like that, he has that kind of complete freedom from attachment. So, I like that thing. The horse of this mind, it no longer moves along the roads of that lead to hell because he is well established. The horse, the senses, the mind, the pranas are under complete good control. So, okay, who is next? Sarvesh is here. No. Ratna, you want to read, Amma?
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
The foreign rulers in the forum of ignorance and darkness cannot penetrate this well-protected city of the sage. While the ignorance are constantly driven by the waves of externalized mind, allow themselves to be thrown into the stream of the world process, thereby being overcome by the terrible aquatic creatures of desire, greed, and infatuation. The enlightened sage enters into the inner hall of meditation and perpetually enjoys supreme bliss, and through apparently performing external actions. From the point of view of a sage's innermost awareness of the self, he is actionless. The sage is an emperor who rejoices in the palace of the body. Maitri, or cosmic love, is his beloved queen, and the truth and the unity are his blessed daughters. Like the luminous sun and that looks down upon the earth with detachment, a sage beholds the miseries of the world with a spirit of absolute detachment. His heart overflows with bliss, for just as virulent poison does not affect the throat of Lord Shiva, so the flaws of the world do not affect the sage. Here, Swamiji has described the realized person, how he lives in this world and how he is detached, but yet he is infinitely peace in his mind and in his heart. Hari Om.
Yeah. Thank you, Ma. So, though he is just like us, he has got the body, mind, the intellect, and all that. His knowledge of the self releases him from any attachment to the miseries of the world and miseries of his own body. The miseries of the body, the miseries coming from the surroundings, the miseries coming from the other natural causes, all of them do not affect him because he realizes I am the pure self. I am not this BMI. So but at the same time, just like we love our body, he loves everybody. Because everything is me, and the whole world is me, and so he has that Maitri or cosmic love in his world. So at the same time, just because he is realized, it doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't cry or happy in the worldly life. Like example, that I was reading the story of that Ramadas from Kasargod, and though when and his main disciple was what is her name? Do you remember Gita? I forgot. Anyway, and though she was also a realized soul, okay, she cried when Ramdaji dropped the body. So like that, you might say, oh, she is crying like everybody. Yes, because though you are realized when the guru dies, okay, and you have that direct contact to that guru, that though you realize that you are not the body and he is not the body, that you still miss that person. And so we should not consider that as anything abnormal. So,
One thing I want to say that, like when the guru dies, I was just, when you said that, I remember Gurudev Chinmayananda Swamiji, when Tapon Maharaj dropped his body, Gurudev shaved his head like a son does.
yeah, right.
And same thing with Guruji also.
Oh, I didn't know that. Right.
I don't know about Guruji. I know about Gurudev.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Okay. And Ratna, Rohini, Sarvesh Naidu is not here. Shobhanamma, want to continue, please?
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.
When a person interacts with the thief with the recognition of his deceptive nature, he is not frustrated by him. So too, a sage enjoys the objects of the world with full recognition of the fact that they are illusory and that the reality behind them is the self alone. Therefore, the miseries of the world do not affect his inward vision. A person viewing a broad landscape from the summit of a hill can see trees being cut and bushes being consumed by fire, but he is unaffected by these changes. In the same way, although a sage perceives the changes of the world, he is unaffected by them. With the veil of ignorance removed, a sage possesses a luminous mind free of all doubts. He is no longer has any other interest to experience the pleasures of the objects. Just as a person is not tempted by the mad outbursts of those who are drunk, so a sage is not tempted by the pleasures that delight the ignorant. He is infinitely free.
Yeah.
I think the same pattern is continuing where you are describing the behavior of a realized person, and and he says like a person when he interacts with the thief, he knows that that person is going to steal, and similarly, sage also is he does not believe in this illusory world, and he has a broader landscape of what is engaged, what is involved, and he's not. Another example given is that he is not tempted by the mad outbursts of people who are drunk, and the
Right.
sage is not tempted by the delight or
Yeah.
the pleasure, simple pleasures.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. So, the objects of the world do not tempt him. So, though he is living in this world, and why he knows, it's just like when you see a picture of a lot of laddus and all the sweets, you don't get tempted. You know it's just a picture, or plastic ones like that. So the same way that he knows the whole world is illusory, and since he is reveling in that knowledge, that he is not affected by the ups and downs of the world process. That simile is very nice in the second paragraph, that you are on the top of the mountain, and in various places you see rain, and some places the trees are burning and all that. Those things doesn't affect that person. Okay. The same way that the person who is identified with the Brahman, the Atman, is not affected by the problems of the body or the world. Why?
The rain and the fire, is it like the dualities of the world?
Correct. Yeah, right. So, eh, why the sage is not just enjoying the bliss, but he has got a complete clear knowledge of the illusoriness of the world process, both happiness and sorrow, the pain and pleasure, the heat and cold. All these things do not affect him. Why? He is not identified with the body or the world. There was something, some example I wanted. I was thinking, I forgot. Okay, we'll continue. And Sudhirji here today. Sudhirji, go ahead, sir.
Hari Om. O Rama, just as an elephant is disciplined and guided to the right path with the help of a sharp spear, so the mind must be brought under one's control with the help of inquiry and reflection. When the mind is disciplined by austerity and meditation, it is easily satiated even with the simplest pleasures of the world. See how the paddy in the field, having survived the scorching heat in summer, delights with a brief shower. In other words, a sage does not run after the objects of the world with a mind afflicted with the insatiable craving, but rather with a mind that is ever contented and illumined. A king who has just been released from prison delights in even the smallest morsel of food, but he who has been perpetually reveling in luxury continues to crave for more and more. In the same way, a well disciplined mind enables a person to be fully satisfied with any object of the world. In other words, a sage delighting in the self within has very little need to depend upon the objects outside. Here it, Vashishta Maharshi is actually teaching us we should be disciplining our mind with help of the inquiry and reflection, and that way, that actually will, it is basically how we do that with the austerity and meditation. That way, it actually leads to contentment, content mind. So then, even with a very little, it will, there is no craving for the external objects outside of him, and he is very content within himself.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what it is.
Very nice. Thank you, Sudhirji. So I can say that until now, Vashishta talked about the characteristics of a wise person. But now he is talking about a sadhaka. Okay. That a sadhaka has to be constantly observant, and just like a wild elephant, it has to be disciplined. That mind has to be disciplined constantly. How disciplined? By inquiry and reflection. So, by Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, that's constant inquiry is very important. So, we cannot give up any time. I say, one day I'm going to enjoy, one day I'm going to do the meditation. No. Either this or that. Okay. Otherwise, you're not going to make any progress in the spiritual field. So it's just like the example of a king. But here, this realized person, he's the real king because he has realized. Because I always remember this little story about all this, many of the Sufi saints, realized, and they don't have any regular clothes and all that. Many of them are torn clothes and all that, and they always used to meet in a burial place. Okay. And so they always called each other as, what do you call, the kings. Okay. So why they are the real kings? So they are completely liberated, complete control of their life, and they are always in that state of bliss. So like that. So the real king is a realized person. And you might say, oh, they are so poor, they don't even have proper clothes to wear. Okay. Yeah, we are talking in terms of our body. Okay. And they are beyond the body. And whether the body is clothed like a king or it is completely naked, they are completely beyond that consciousness. So the same way, I remember this story that I read today about that Papa Ramdas ji. One day, a thief came to the house, and Papa Ramdas was awake, and so he welcomed him, and so he started picking up things. And so Papa Ramdas asked him, "Oh, you want to this one? You want this one? You want to take this one?" He gave everything, and then was left, and then he came back and said, "Give me your clothes also." Clothes he was wearing, and so he gave the clothes also to wearing. So, like that, they are completely free. And the next day, his assistants came and said, "What happened?" So I said, "Oh, this man came and he took everything." So I said, "Who took it?" "Oh, Bhagavan Rama took it." For him, everything was Rama, because he is Ramadas. So like that, they're completely, free of enmity to the world. So, okay. Sudhirji, Swaminathan, Uma Shankar, Veena you want to read, please?
Hari
Om.
If you are desirous of attaining the sovereignty of the spiritual kingdom, you must conquer the enemies of the senses. And in this violent project, exercise your self effort to your utmost, pressing your hand with the hand, clenching the teeth against the teeth, twisting and turning the limbs against the limbs. Do not leave any stone unturned. You must accomplish this victory over the senses. Nothing should deter you from this glorious task. What is the use of conquering kingdoms when the enemies of the senses are not conquered within one's own heart? When the senses are conquered, a sage becomes the eternal ruler of all that is. He who has vanquished the verminous serpent of mind that lies coiled up in the heart, he is truly an adorable sage. So here, yes. So here, Vashishji is saying for us to become a true sadhak, we have to conquer the enemies of our senses, and we have to keep the self effort going at all times. Just like you said, it cannot be one day on, one day off. We have to constantly make the effort to conquer our senses. And until we conquer our senses, we cannot attain the liberation. And here he says, the one who has controlled the senses is the real king, right, and calls the mind a verminous serpent, which is interesting. And it stays coiled in our heart. And whoever conquers it is really the true sage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our effort has to be constant.
Right. So just like our sadhan chatushtaya sampannata, in that shatka sampatti, shama, dama, uparama, titiksha are all very, very important. Control of the senses, control of the mind. To the degree to which that we have controlled all these things, to that extent that we have made spiritual progress. So that's very, very important. So we should be satisfied with anything that comes along just to sustain that body, so that you can continue to do the sadhanas. Apart from that, you are not looking for anything for that, pamper the body. So very good. Is Vijayji here? Yeah, Vijayji, you want to continue, sir?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
So we are getting into chapter 20, section 24, the importance of attaining the victory over the senses. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, enemies in the form of the senses are very difficult to conquer. They are the rulers over the terrible hells and are endowed with hellish armament. They are ruthless ingrates that after abiding in the body and collecting the treasures of worldly impressions, leave it to die, endowed with the wings of the good and evil karmas. They are like vultures abiding in the nest of the body, ever pursuing the rotting pleasures of the flesh. Endowed with the wealth of viveka, discriminative knowledge, he who has enslaved the senses and mastered the mind, his intellect blooms like spring flowers. He who has become detached even from the chitta, mind stuff, joyously watches the subtle desires dissolve even like the mist before the rising sun. For a person who is endowed with wisdom, his mind becomes like an obedient slave, like a trusted counselor, or like a valiant general over the army of the senses. To a wise sage, the purified mind is his beloved consort, his affectionate father, or his trustworthy friend. Here, Vashishta Muni's rishis continue to talk about how difficult to win over the senses, and all this, how difficult to do all the five senses. But again, for the rishis or the jnanis, once you conquer them, then it becomes that much easier for them. Then it becomes like a slave, and as a army in the general, for the general. Hari Om.
Yeah. So just like in Gita, Bhagavan says, Uddared Atman Atmanam Natmanam Avasadayet. One should lift oneself by one effort, should not degrade oneself. And the next sloka he says, Bandhuratmatmanasya Henatmai Vatmana Jitaha Anatmanastu Shatrutve Vartet Atmaiva Shatruvatu. One's own self is the friend of the soul by whom the lower self, that is consisting of the mind, senses, and body, has been conquered. Even so, the very self of him who is not conquered, his lower self, he behaves antagonistically like an enemy. So, that Viveka and Vairagya and control of our lower instinct, our vasanas, is very, very important. Then he will be able to enjoy the supreme bliss. So he says, a person endowed with wisdom, his mind becomes like a obedient slave. Instead of, I would rather use the obedient friend. So whether it's a father, mother, spouse, friend, servant, will be a very, very friendly, cordial relation. So, and Vishwanath is here today. No? Oh,
Raghuji, I'm here, Raghuji, but I'm
yeah.
just coming in. I'll do the next time, Raghuji. I just have to get to my book. I just came in.
So you want to skip
Next
it
time.
now?
Yes, Raghuji. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll
Akilama,
take 2 minutes to get.
you want to read?
Yes, Rikuji. This world process abounds with numerous evils. It is enveloped in the mist of delusion and is the source of limitless afflictions. Therefore, O Rama, do not relax your vigilance while sojourning through this world. Do not remain deprived of discriminative knowledge, lest you fall off into the predicament of ignorant masses. Acquire discriminative knowledge. Discover the truth with the help of pure intellect and attain victory over the senses. You will cross the ocean of the world process. Give up the erroneous notion, I am the body and this world is real. Assert and discover the truth that all this is Brahman, the absolute self, and that I am. Endowed with this wisdom, perform your daily duties. You will be ever established in the self. Though eating, drinking, and going and coming, you will remain untouched by the miseries of this world.
Want to comment?
This is a very difficult one for me, Raghuji, to comment. You go ahead and tell us.
Anybody want to do? Take it. So if you really look at this whole world, there will be ups and downs. Okay, though you don't have any enemy by yourself, many people might not like you. Okay, and there will always be ups and downs. Sometimes, particularly when you are doing a sadhana and going around from place to place, you might not get any food for days and days. Or there might be even people who might call you names. Hey, strong man like you shouldn't be going around like this. You should go and work. So all sorts of both physical and mental miseries might come, but one should have that kind of a stable mind. So just like I said, one day sadhana, one day pleasure. No, that's what Guru is telling here. Do not relax your vigilance while sojourning through this world. So it should be a 24/7 sadhana. Discover the truth with the help of pure intellect. That is most important. If our intellect is biased, naturally whatever the decisions we make will be biased. And so that pure unbiased intellect, with that we have to be doing the sadhana. Otherwise, we make excuses and say, oh, what is wrong with eating a little extra today? What is wrong with going and begging for pleasurable food? Just like one sadhaka, every day used to go for bhiksha, And then one day he went for bhiksha, bodhi bhiksha, and that lady of the house came to give him bhiksha. Then he said, "Oh, Amma, today is my birthday. Would you give me some sweets?" Like that. So he still has desire for pleasurable things, and so that's we have to continue to watch for those things. Why we'll have that? Because of our thinking that I am this body and the world is different from me. And I am able to reach that state that I am not the body, then naturally we will say that I am enjoying that bliss of the self. To the extent that I am detached, to that extent I enjoy the bliss of the self, that to the absolute self. And until we reach that goal, we should not give up the sadhana. And we might not reach that in this life. It might take several lives, but we cannot give up. Okay, so the bodies come and go. It's just like wearing a new, taking off torn clothes and putting on new clothes. But that jiva has to continue to do the sadhana until the goal is reached. So you will be ever established in the self. Though eating, drinking, going and coming, you will remain untouched by the miseries of the world. So that's why when you read Bhajagovindam, all those slokas come to your mind when you read this kind of thing. So, okay. And Anjaneyulu, sir, you want to continue?
He is not here today.
I thought he was here. I thought I saw him. Interesting. Nuligaru. Hari Om, sir. How are you doing?
Very well, so Raghuji. Welcome back from India.
Thank you. Thank you. I got to see a glimpse of your daughter coming and going.
No, actually, that was my niece.
That's your niece.
Yeah, she just came. Yes.
I see.
Okay. Section 25 to 31. The story of Dama, Vyala, and Kata. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, you should not follow the conduct of Dama, Vyala, or Kata, but rather that of Bhima, Bhasa, and Dridha. I will tell you their stories, and after having heard them, decide for yourself what is best. In the Patala Loka, the netherworld, there ruled a valiant demon king known as Shambhara, who was endowed with great magical powers. He had created gardens in the sky, built magic houses for the demons, and had even provided his world with an artificial sun and moon. He had collected the best treasures from the three worlds and had placed them in his capital city. He had a powerful army of terrible demons who had defeated the gods many times. But whenever he had to go away to some distant land, or whenever he slept deeply, the gods would devastate his army. And although he appointed the best of generals to manage and lead his army during these times, even they were destroyed by the gods. So this is more or less, he started telling us a story about the Asuras and the Devas. But the one thing that interested me in the last in the last para of the previous thing, actually the Swamiji is talking about the householders also, because he says, endowed with the wisdom, perform your daily duties.
Yeah, you're right. You can be a grihastha and live that kind of life of brahmacharya. He was as a grihastha. Because you do see uh, examples of that kind of great saints, especially in the Bhakti Marga. You see so many of them, they're married with children and all that, but they live that kind of life. Okay.
Raghuji, in fact, most of our shastras and the teachings insist grahasthas to live a brahmacharya life. That's how probably whatever is said in the previous section is attainable. Even for a common man, it
Right,
need not be a sannyasi or a. It is not just applicable for a yogin who's
right.
already realized.
Yeah, right. That is the reason you have four stages of four ashramas. If you follow the four ashramas perfectly, then you will definitely reach the goal. And I still remember that thing that I read, this the Shankaracharya. I don't. I think it is from the not Sringeri, the one from Kanchi. When he
Kanchi.
was going around, they stop at people's houses for a few days, and uh, one of the grihasthas did, as usual, Stashtang pranams, but the Swamiji was feeling uncomfortable because intuitively he knew, though he was a grihastha, he was a realized man. Okay. And so that realized man is prostrating to me. Okay. But Grihastha had that humility and say, hey, that he is a sannyasi, he is a matadipati, that I need to prostrate, show my respects to him. So like that, so even as a Grihastha, that you can achieve those goals. So,
Yeah, one of the example I just want to add, Raghuji, in my personal journey, I had this inclination to take Ayappa Vrata, in 20 years back, and when I was in India, I used to do that. So I could feel that more connection to God and within you, and you see a difference in you when you do that 41-day that Virata. So subconsciously, even though now I'm into this path of knowledge and through grace of Gurudev and your presence, I'm into the satsangs, understanding more deep knowledge. Even then, that the subconscious now it keeps driving me towards that still that cycle of virata. That because that gives a state of what would be a state of brahmachari, right? Like so, still I do it. Like in fact, this year I'm doing it. Raghuji. I'm already in that cycle.
yeah,
So definitely, grahastha has to have that state of mind and follow the practice apart from doing dhyanam and satsang,
right,
because that's when they are more connected deeply. they,
right,
they they get away from all the basic sense pleasures and disconnect
yeah,
from that, at least for a mandala.
right, yeah. Yeah, even the grihastha might be a rich person, a big landlord or anything, but inside he is living a very simple life. Okay, that brahmacharya for a grihastha is different from brahmacharya for a sannyasi. From what I understand, eh, just like in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, I am the sex which desire for progeny. So, if you are having sexual relations because as a grihastha, that it is your duty to have a progeny, and so you have sex only for that reason, and apart from that, you don't have any sexual contact between the husband and the wife. That is the real brahmacharya for a grihastha. So, like that, there are people who live and so they have children and they need to have children because only that kind of a great souls can bring in the another jiva that is spiritually evolved and want to continue in this world, and so if that kind of a saintly grihasthas don't have the progeny, and there's no chance for other jivas to continue to be born and progress. So,
The example is the Rishyashringa in the Ramayana.
right. Go ahead, tell me, Gita.
Rishyashringa was married to, uh, he was a married person, but he was considered as the greatest brahmachari.
Right.
So, for doing the Putra Kameshti Yaga from Dasharatha,
Yeah.
he was brought, and in Ramayana, in the footnotes, it is given why he is considered as a brahmachari, even though he is married. He was married to actually to Shanta,
Right.
the Kausalya's daughter,
Right.
actually.
Right.
And so there it says there are particular days, particular time a person can have relationship. And so if a person follows that and he is not given to desire during other times, and he has a total control over his senses, he is considered as a brahmachari.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rishyashringa was considered as a brahmachari because even though he was married.
Right. So even that Lord Krishna is said to be a brahmachari. Okay. People might laugh, but that is true because as Bhagavan, he was completely above the body consciousness. So whatever the union he had, it is only for the sake of the other partner, not him. So anyway, so let us continue. And who is supposed to read next? Dinesh?
I'm here.
You want to read?
Yes. Desirous of having perpetual supremacy over the gods, Shambhara devised a wise plan. By the force of his Maya, his magical power, he created three terrible demons: Dama, destroyer of all enemies; Vyala, venomous like a snake; and Kata, destroyer of the weapons of the opposing army. Being magically projected, these three demons were without prior vasanas or subtle desires, and solely followed the dictates of their king Shambhara. They were unaffected by victory or defeat, and pursued their enemy without fear of death or, or mental confusion. The gods waged a terrible war against these three demons, but failed. The demons pursued the gods, but they hid themselves in obscure places. Then, supremely victorious, these three great generals returned to King Sambara and reported the total defeat of the gods.
You want to
So
comment?
yeah, there is no comment here except they're just narrating uh, the situation about Dama, Vyala, and Kata,
Right.
how they were deployed to accomplish the objective of the Shambhara.
Right. Right. So you can see in this example, I was thinking that each one of us is so different from the other. Why? Because of our previous vasanas. But these three had no previous vasanas because they were newly created by Maya. And so they would do only whatever that the uh, creator told them to do. And so they were invincible. And so if you, though they were in the negative forces, but if you put it in a positive way, that if I dissolve all my vasanas, then I become so all powerful. Nobody can destroy me. Why? Because I know I am that eternal Brahman. So, okay.
Yeah, I have
I have a question too.
Yes, sir.
My question is, if they are living beings and they are deployed and they are doing these things, I'm sure they are accumulating. There has to be some consequences of that. Until unless they are totally above the accountability where they don't accrue any karmas.
Anybody want to comment?
No, the only thing is they're magically projected. So that is why they are not really has any bodies or any of their own mind or anything like that. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Now, he may accumulate karma for the next birth if they ever had one. Right now, they don't have any problem. They may be adding that to their agami karma, which they may eventually have to exhaust in the next birth if they get an next
Yeah. I look at it as they are robots.
Exactly.
Okay. And so the robot doesn't get any, what do you call,
Okay.
results of its action. Only the creator of the robots
Get
gets the results. That's how I look at it. So,
Raghuji, I have one more question. I can understand Dhamma and Kata because Dhamma is destroying the enemies and Kata is destroying the weapons of the opposing army. But Vyala, venomous like a snake, I don't understand how it is going to help Shambara achieve his goal. What is the venomous snake significance here, Raghuji?
I
So
don't know.
no, I thought I'm not. You should not. I think we should not be taking it is actually the literal meaning. This is something like say, the snake is actually normally will be projected for your ego and something like that. The dhamma is actually what dhamma means what kind of discipline kind of thing, right? Something we have to understand what is the underlying. This is not a story. The story has got some core message is there in it. I just was trying to find out what exactly this Vyala, Dhamma, Kata means. It is not the exact meaning of destroyer of the weapon. It is something, it is representing something else, right? Raghuji, that's what I look at it.
It's venomous like a snake.
This is a
Only that
Vyali. This is actually Raghuji, that Vyala is actually the one which, in the temple you see that a lion and half kind of a dragon face, and that is a Vyala, Vyali, those
yeah,
things that is.
yeah, right, right. That's, you see that in decorations on the outside the temple and
Yeah,
also on the top of the what do you call the Prabhavali.
yeah.
You see that, correct.
So
The only way I look at it about Vyala is that he is even without any instruments or anything, that he can destroy others, and he is so what do you call poisonous or dangerous person. So
Thank you.
okay, and is Karpagam here today? No, Madhu Kukala. I thought Madhu was here today. I think only he was here yesterday, I guess. And Maya, you want to read, Amma?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
In the meantime, the gods sought the assistance of Brahma, the creator, to destroy these three demons. Having thought over the situation for a while, Brahma gave the following advice. The demon king Shambara is destined to be destroyed by Lord Vishnu alone. Until that time, you must devise plans of destroying the three demon generals. However, you cannot destroy them unless you engender in them an intense sense of egoism. Created by Shambhara's Maya, these three are without vasanas and are therefore unconquerable in the three worlds. It is the mental vasana alone that brings defeat on a person. And if he were free of vasana, he would be unaffected, undefeated, and unshakable by all the negative forces of the world. These who are devoid of vasanas are balanced in pleasure and pain, gain and loss, success and failure, victory and defeat. They cannot be conquered, but even valiant men, if they are dominated by the simplest of vasana, they can be conquered by the mere children. So here, Swamiji trying to tell that, when all the gods got frustrated, they went to Brahma and asked his advice. Then he told them that the Sambhara is going to be destroyed by Vishnu only. And until that, he gave the advice that destroying all the demons, however, you cannot destroy them unless you engender in them in the intense sense of egoism. Means you have to create maybe ego in them. Then they might be, because they are created without vasana. They have a balance of everything. They cannot be conquered because they are without vasana. So he told them that to go and, if you can, implant the egoism in them.
Right.
And so that's all, Hariom. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, right. So if you look at the realized person, why he is unconquerable in the sense of affected by the miseries of the world, because he doesn't have any ego. He is identified with the whole universe. So just like the example that is given in the Mundaka Upanishad of two birds sitting on a branch of a tree. The one bird is eating the fruits and it's happy with the sweet fruit and uh, miserable with sour fruits. But the other bird is just looking away, completely serene and in bliss. So, like that, if you are identified with this world and trying to enjoy, experience the things in the world, then you develop vasanas and you will be affected and you can be easily controlled. But the one who is not attached to the world, in the sense, not attached to the body or the senses, that person is unconquerable. That's the reason you see Vishwamitra as a king. I forget the name, his name, what it was before he became Vishwamitra. And he had so much jealousy against Vashishta Rishi, and because of his powers, and then he kept losing. Okay. And then he had to go and do more and more tapas and come back, and still he would lose. Okay. Until he lost his ego. Okay. And and so enmity towards Vasishtha Rishi, only then he became equal to Vasishtha Rishi as the Brahma Rishi. And so that ego has to go. So
Okay, so that means those three demons is actually when they did not had that vasanas, they were not they were unconquerable.
right.
Then once, right? Okay.
Yeah, right. And so now you will see how the gods induce vasanas in them next. So, who is supposed to read? Karpagam, Madhuk, Mano, Naidu, Manoj, Maya finished. Nag, you want to continue, sir?
Yes, sir. This is my body. To me belongs victory or defeat. This is my life. Such thoughts attract all the miseries of the world. Such identification with the body causes great humiliation. If there were any object other than the self, one would be justified to sustain a desire for it. But since nothing exists other than the self, the desires of the mind are backed up by ignorance alone. Therefore, O Indra, king of all gods, devise methods of creating a body idea in these three demons. Then, when vasanas develop in their mind, they will be easily defeated in battle. So, the essence of this story is as long as we do our duties without any ego, any vasanas, even gods cannot defeat us because we are one with the Brahman.
Yeah. Very nice. So, Rakesh ji.
Since these three demons were unenlightened, they gradually developed a sense of egoism.
No,
And
you have to read the previous para also.
Okay. Top one?
Since
Yeah,
these three demons.
Thus counseled by Brahma, right? That is it.
I think they. Oh, shut. Okay.
The top of the page 188.
Okay. Thus counseled by Brahma, O Rama, the gods planned to infuse egoism in the minds of three demons. They valiantly fought against them for a long time, at times praising the demons for their valor, and at times ridiculing them for their lack of skill. At times they humiliated themselves before the demons, and at times they ran away from them in the battlefield. Since these three demons were unenlightened, they gradually developed a sense of egoism and gradually became identified with their bodies. They became concerned with their life and their possessions and began to crave for perishable enjoyments of the world. Then, seeing them under the power of their own mental illusion, the gods put up a fierce battle and devastated their army. The three demons generals had to flee in order to save their lives because of their fear of King Sambara. They sought refuge in the world of Yama, the god of death. They remained there for a long time and finally came to their humiliating end. Therefore, O Rama, do not follow the example of three demons of Dhamma, Vyala, and Kata, who, by intensification of their vasanas, were brought to their ruin. If you are able to destroy the vasanas of the mind by wisdom, you will attain an unconscious state of liberation.
Yeah.
It's talking about like they were have no vasana to start with, and then they got developed vasanas, and Vashishta is telling Rama because this is not the right way to develop vasanas, because unless by wisdom and you can get those vasanas controlled and you can get there, you're a whole lot better off than trying to, because they run away, go under yama. So these are the better way to mind by wisdom, and then you can reach the God.
Yeah. Yeah. Though the he said that the three demons, the example, then it doesn't mean that a realized person is like all these the demons. So you should take the only limited meaning from this example that of the vasanas. They once who have vasanas, then you continue to be identified with the body and the world. And we have no vasanas, then naturally you have no identification with the body and the world. And so the ups and downs of life do not bother you. And then you abide in that supreme knowledge.
So, Raghuji, one sentence summary of this chapter is that ego is the cause for all downfall.
Correct. Yeah, it's the ego that all through the years, that lives that you have been born and die, take another body because of that ego. That's called the jiva, or the subtle body that goes from body to body.
And attachment also, right?
Pardon?
Ego, attachment also, right? It says that they become concerned of their life, their possession. So that actually will be the attachment to the world, right?
Yeah. Those are all the manifestations of the ego, right? So when you're identified with the whole universe, nothing is left, then what is there to be attached to? But when you're attached, when identified with the little body, then the question comes of, this is me and that is mine, or that is not mine. I like this person, I hate that person, and all that. So that is the ego. So when you don't have that ego, or your ego has expanded to include the whole universe, then that you have become one with the total. So now we have reached 8:21. If you go to the next chapter, it will be probably at least another 20-30 minutes. Shall we stop here, or you want to continue?
Can we stop, please?
Yeah. Okay. Nobody else said counteracted it. So we'll stop here. And I guess we're going to continue in the next week, or how many of you are not going to be able to attend next week? One. Did Shobana said raise the arms too? And two?
Yes.
Two are not going to attend. Okay. So since majority are going to be here, so we will continue. Okay. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. And who is going to do the summary? Rakesh ji is not going to be here. And so Ratnam, can you do the summary next class?
Okay, I will try, Dr. Raghu.
Okay, Amma. Good. Thank you. So we'll
Hari
meet.
Om, everybody. Hari Om.
So we will
Dr.
meet
please
next
record,
week.
Dr. Raghu, please record it too.
Yeah, I'll record it. Thank you. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om, everyone. Hari Om, Raghuji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.